Good morning, guys. It is a bit of an overcast Saturday right before Easter 2021, and I thought I would take you guys on a tour of the front yard. Foodscape. It's not really a food forest because I am not that established in my attempts here. So right here is a panache fig. It has striped variegated stems and variegated fruit, and it's said to taste like raspberry jam. I have yet to taste it. This is his first year in the ground, so I really look forward to that this year. And these are my blackberry bushes. I transplanted these two. This one has been here since the beginning, but they're starting to leaf out and hopefully will bear fruit this fall. This one is starting to put on flowers and fruit. I'm not sure if I'm going to let him keep doing that because I don't know if I should, or if I should just have him focus on putting out new roots. That's an auroch. I put that in because I was told that it was going to be able to handle the heat and the sun. So far, not impressed. So I planted some more in the shade in the back. I have random patches of calendula flowers also going on, and there's dahlias. You'll see that I've just placed all over the front yard. Tubers are edible. These are a seed grex of edible dahlias I got from Cultivariable. That is mint, Monarda, bee balm mint. That is Zatar. This is my violet patch, because once you put violets somewhere, you'll never get rid of them. So welcome to the violet patch. I've worked to try and get rid of them, and I just can't. You'll notice if you look closely, there are going to be patches where this is my strawberry or raspberry shortcake raspberry, and they will pop up just in random places. Like there's one next to the mint. Hold on, right there. So yeah, they'll spread quite a bit. I also have some Joan J raspberries right here, and I think that's also one that I would really like to get established and hopefully taste this year. I've had those Joan J's in for a couple years. They looked really rotten last year. Another auroch. These are dwarf blueberries that are also from the Brambleberry line, same people that make the raspberry shortcake and the dwarf blackberry that I grow. I have not had any fruits on these yet, but this is only like year 2 or 3, and none of my blueberries put on flowers this year. I think the frost may have gotten all of them not to do that because they're all old wood on all of them and no flowers. This is a soapwort lily. It has put up a little pup right next to it. I'm gonna leave him there. I kind of hope it will establish just in this area. It seems to like it here. That's a dying ranunculus, and this is where ranunculus also used to be. It's still kind of cool weather, but ranunculus are a little picky. You'll notice that, and if you guys ever get a chance to look close, there's strawberries and violets and plantains and right here, and then wood sorrels. I don't see any of the yellow flowers, but my weed patch over here of violets contains all of those, which are edible and medicinal. This is a yellow pineapple sage. This is a wild, like, little, can you guys even see it? Hold on. So that's like a wild little daisy. You guys can't see it. Right there. And I let them kind of just establish all over the front yard because I think they're pretty. Dianthus carnation. These are a heat-loving green with a French name that I cannot pronounce. But they put on pink flowers, and they're kind of like corn mash, but for the warm weather instead of for the winter. There's my mother's Shasta daisies next to this almond tree that we put in to replace the dwarf or super dwarf apple that did not perform well. I don't recommend super dwarf fruit trees. They really just don't take off like a regular tree or a standard dwarf would. Sweet Williams, I moved from next to the anniversary rose. You'll see some other ones, some other Sweet Williams. It kind of walked around this part of the yard. There's garlic randomly scattered throughout. There are also some blueberry sticks that I have put in the violet patch in random places. Like here's another one. These are not the same variety, I don't think. Whenever I trim my blueberries, I just stuck sticks in here to see if they would grow. There's one behind the Sweet Williams right there. So This is my anniversary rose. It is a beautiful, beautiful bunching kind of stem rose that I got in a anniversary bouquet my husband sent me. So I loved it so much I tried to root it and I was successful, believe it or not. So pretty happy about that. I love seeing him. I've also put right here, randomly around the garden, I have put multiplier onions. These are supposed to be Green Mountain multiplier onions, which is a variety Kelly Winterton came up with years ago by breeding, growing out seeds, which these onions are really rare to go to seed. So I don't know if they're really Green Mountain multiplier, if they're just regular multiplier onions. I'll let you know as things come about. There is some ranunculus under there and more of these little tiny daisies, some dahlia, some hollyhock. Under here are some, here and there are some sweet red peppers that I was gonna give to my mom, but the cup got knocked over by my dog and I was like, well, I need to get those in the ground. Another dwarf blueberry. This is my gumi. It has been here about 3 years and it finally has gone to bloom. I'm really hopeful that we'll get some berries this year. I haven't seen a lot of insect visits on here, so I'm kind of hoping it's so fertile. We'll see. More dahlias, edible dahlias. These are more of the edible dahlias. 2 blueberry bushes right here. Man, this one did terrible for several years. I thought it was gonna die, so I'm really glad to see it doing well right here. Raspberry, this is a raspberry shortcake. You'll see those. You see raspberries, violets, and strawberries just throughout the garden in the front because they're good ground covers. That raspberry shortcake doesn't get more than about 8 inches tall. Look, a dandelion. I should probably grab that. Although I'll let it grow and eat the greens too. You can fry the flowers, found that out yesterday. I mean, I knew you could eat them, but I never really thought about like frying them. Here's some red amaranth that I picked up from Joanne's nursery in Irving when we took that trip earlier this week. That was a really good trip. I love Joanne's and I highly recommend it to everybody, although it was bananas as far as the traffic volume, parking, all of that. I moved some of my Nana's irises from the mailbox over here and over there. I got some Spanish lavender that's got those pink flowers. That's a dahlia that came back despite the -5 degrees freeze we hit. Excuse me, that weird freeze we got this year. This is my peach that has these really beautiful hot pink triple blossom flowers, triple blossom flowers. It's gorgeous. I finally got one from my neighbors to take. A pink Rosa rugosa, yarrow, creeping thyme, a shiso that will probably spread a lot of seeds. There's French sorrel here and one back there too. They've all put up seed stalks already and I'm just gonna let them go to seed and see if they'll spread. I've got to clean this out. There's a major fire ant here that I put the orange oil water on, so hopefully I can get into that soon. The yarrow needs to be cleaned up a bit, but I'm kind of letting it just walk. This was supposed to be a creeping thyme, but that's a real creeping thyme with the super tiny flowers and the super tiny leaves, and this just looks like a regular thyme. So it's not lemon scented. That's just English thyme, I think. I got these for like $1.49 for a little pot of 3 and planted them under that peach because I think that the pink and the yellow will look pretty in this spring. There is some blue potatoes that I just had extras of and I planted under this bare patch right here. There used to be a variegated artemisia here, but oh my god, it went crazy and I'm still pulling out little runners. Strawberries, because I'm really trying to let the strawberries kind of naturalize over here. Snapdragons, false sea thrift, my grandmother's Rudbeckia, another red yarrow, my new peach tree, my Warren peach. I'm really excited about that. Spicy Greek oregano, that's a lemon scented thyme, and that is a little, I think it's a Stella daylily, yellow daylily. Some zinnia seedlings I transplanted here, and I transplanted another patch right there. That is a currant that we got. Gooseberry. Another raspberry. Replacement Petite Negra fig. I lost mine in the freeze this year, so that's why I have a replacement fig. That's a grocery store rose bush. It gets like peach colored blossoms. Echinacea. Red valerian, which is edible, not necessarily the most tasty thing, but it's edible. Another Spanish lavender, raspberry, dahlia, strawberries everywhere. Texas primrose, which is weedy AF, by the way. I pull them up, but really the rhizomes run beneath all the mulch and into the ground, so there's like no getting rid of the Texas primrose once you have it. More daylilies. Not sure really what happened here. This is not how this looked when I planted it. So some critter has been here. Wow. Pretty messed up, actually. So that's a soapwort seedlings. I'm not really sure if they'll actually make it. Hosta, more snapdragons. This is a Nanking cherry. Those random little white flowers you'll see, and like these little suckers coming up, is from a cherry plum. I think it's a wild cherry plum. We'll see. I had to cut the whole thing down because it got borers in it really bad last year. So, but that's why I got that variety, right? Because it has borers. Like I have borers around here, and I got a suckering variety of cherry plum because I wanted it to come back if it got attacked by borers. So we'll see how successful this is or is not. Somewhere in here is a mallow that I'm hoping will come back. There is a hazelnut, some pine cone ginger I planted right here in these two spots. I don't know if it'll come back. The soil temperature is honestly too cold right now to really find out. This is a columbine. That's a blackberry I dug out and it's coming back, so I missed some root, which is fine. Cheyenne sunrise echinacea, more blackberries right here, putting on some flowers. I really want that black lace elderberry to take off. It's not taking off, and I really want it to. So here's hoping. That's my dead nettle. I put markers around it so Hubs would not weed eat it. I want that to stay. These little cylinders contain pawpaw trees, which I'm really hoping will leaf out and be successful. This is just all strawberries. That's some vetch right there. Mostly just strawberries and violets on the corner. Dianthus, because carnation flowers are perennial and edible. Some random garlic, snapdragons, my little pond in a pot. My variegated fish mint's coming back, so hopefully when that gets a little bigger I will take some cuttings and put it in the back. Some plantain seems to really like that pot, so I'm gonna leave it there. Azolla, I need to fill up the water on this. It's getting a little low, but I have that big stone in there so the bees can drink some water when they need it. Carolina spice bush, putting on some new growth here, flowers here. This is some sort of viburnum, which I don't even know if you can see. Yeah, some wild viburnum. It's never done much because I think it's in too much shade. That is a Turk's cap. That is a thyme that I just dumped over here that rooted, and there's a huge fire ant mound in it, and I'm just leaving it alone because they can stay there. They're not in anybody's way. I have again put some of the potato onions just in random spots around here. This is a edible root that I got from a gentleman, TF Farms or T Farms, I'm not sure, in Florida. It's a type of canna lily that makes potato-like roots, so we'll see if that takes here or not. This is Rubus odorata, a fragrant, shade-loving, pink-flowered raspberry that's native to the Northeast in general. But I was going to give it a shot here because I really thought it was intriguing. I got that from, I think, Heritage Flower Farm. I could be wrong. That stick right there, if you can even see it, is a mulberry cutting that I stuck in the ground. It's not doing too well. Let's see. I planted some other sort of tuberous crop here, but I don't remember what it was. These little holes are hostas that I planted. This is my white peach tree, one of them. The other one's over here. I grew these from seed my mother gave me. She got it from a roadside farm up in West Virginia. Said it was the best peaches she ever had, so I planted the seeds. I get lots of flowers and little peaches, but usually not, so far, not a whole peach. And that may be because it's not sunny enough, I don't know. But they seem to like it here. They just don't produce a lot of fruit. More hostas supposed to be coming up. This little guy, so I bought that Turk's cap at the end and put it in because I thought this guy was dead. And then when I started trying to cut it down, I was like, oh my, there's stuff coming back. So that -5 degrees I really thought killed a lot of our stuff, and it did kill some of it, but not as much as I thought. Again, these are pink lemonade blueberries. And I'm really bummed because, like I said, I didn't trim any of the sticks because I wanted some blossoms this year. And I know they only fruit on like second year's growth. I didn't get any blossoms. So kind of bummed about that. Oof, excuse me. Why am I saying excuse me to plants? I don't know. That's just how I do. So spiderwort's coming up. First spiderwort blossom of the year. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty excited about that. I had some Aradia cone growing back here. I still have it. I just don't know if it'll come up after the frost. I did save some of the tubers and have planted them in a new bed in the back. This was my biggest one, so this is the one I dug up and took flowers or took tubers from. So let's all pray that, sorry I'm picking weeds while I'm doing the video. Let's all pray that it comes up in the back. All right. These are just like some random garlic and garlic chives, and there's some bee balm that's escaped, which is fine with me. It can take over this area. This used to be my turmeric patch, but I don't know if any of them survived the frost. So it used to come all the way out here. It was growing out into here. So I have some turmeric tubers I saved, but again, the soil is not warm enough for me to put them out. So I'm just kind of waiting to see if this comes back or not. Hydrangeas all came back. I wanted to cut this down, but the leaf nodes keep swelling. So I was just gonna wait and see how far up the new leaves come on this one before I trim it down. It is my biggest one. It came from a cutting from my mother's hydrangea up in Northern Virginia before she moved. And that's a hydrangea I got from Lowe's. Just doesn't look that happy, does it? What are those? I don't know what those are. Some sort of flower stalk, I hope, and not some grass. It looks like some sort of iris. I don't know. I'm sure I put it there. That is a peony. This is a snowball bush from my great-grandfather's house that my mom had, but she said it really didn't like where it was, so I put it here. He seems to like it. I planted it right before the big freeze, and I thought, Lord, please don't let that poor thing die. That's a lot of family heritage going on. So there's another small peony right there, and another beautiful hydrangea. This is one I got from a cutting from my friend Christy, who got it from her friend. And it's kind of like, it's a wide, flat, white bloom, and it's just like one or two flowers open around the edge, instead of like a whole big puffball. And this is hydrangea that same friend, her husband had lost his mom, and this was one of the plants they got. It just wasn't really happy where it was, so she gave it to me, and it's doing fabulous. And hopefully I can get her cutting and root it this year, so that we can maybe try again on her property, so that her husband will have some of that hydrangea. So a long video, but that's a lot of stuff going on, and everything pretty much is edible that I'm growing in the front yard. And you really wouldn't know it. You know, you look at it and it just looks like a pretty landscape, except for my violet patch, you know, kind of front yard. So you can do a foodscape. There's a lot of food in this front yard. There's a lot of fruit trees. There's a lot of berries going on. There's a lot of edible greens. There's a lot of herbs growing. There's edible weeds in the front yard. But this whole patch, this huge patch of strawberries, started with like 3 seascape strawberry plants that I brought from Lubbock when we moved here. So aronia berry, Turk's cap's edible. There's tons of things that make tea in this front yard. There's a lot of edible things in this front yard, and especially like the canna that makes the potato tubers. I have grown sweet potatoes all over the front as a ground cover. I'm growing some watermelon vines unless I get tired of them. But you can put stuff in your front yard that people will have no idea is edible, and it looks good. I mean, it may not look like super duper organized, but that's just because that's my style. But you can keep it looking really, really nice and organized. This is my flower bed. I did not intentionally just plant a bunch of edible flowers in here. I just threw a flower mix down here, but most of them are edible. The Johnny Jump Ups are edible, the borage is edible, the roses are edible. Those are some blue Camassia quaimish, blue camas, which have edible roots. The bachelor's button cornflower flowers are edible. The poppies are edible. The clover's edible. Nigella's seeds are edible. Flowers are edible. So, and that's my Mother's Day rose that came from my grandmother's house, and it's about to put on its first blossoms. So I've got some giant asters that I just planted, these 3 yesterday. Those are edible. So yeah, I mean, it'll look beautiful. There'll be lots of flowers and it'll be gorgeous. There's color coming up throughout the year around here, and pretty much everything is an edible flower. Those fall sea thrifts are not edible, but that's about it in the front yard that you can't eat. So give it a shot, guys.